If I was expecting a good return, let's say a 10 grand, just for a number, but I got 5. Make sure you are being asked, আপনার accountant right question জিজ্ঞেস করেছেন, সব কয়টি প্রশ্ন আপনি উত্তর দিয়েছেন, satisfied. This is how you maximize your return. যাদের ইভি আছে আগামী বছর থেকে $250 আপনাকে দিতে হবে at DMV. That's besides the registrations and whatnot. This is when you get a good refund, tax refund. What if you did not get a good refund that you were expecting? What are the things that you would advise those people to go over? I know, one of the things, easy things, contact me. That's one thing.
Right.
But generally, your advice would be what they should look for. If I was expecting a good return, let's say a 10 grand, just for a number, but I got 5.
Right, but remember what I said before is, hey, listen, that means the money's already been in your pocket all year round.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're not actually missing out. Pay me now or pay me later, right?
Yeah. So, but I need to figure out that I did not receive as I expected.
Right, but your expectations need to be adjusted because it's actually been in your pocket. It means your paychecks have been larger than normal.
Okay, so what you're saying is this: if you're taking more home as opposed to paying proper taxes, you may end up getting smaller refund. But what I'm saying is, let's make believe that you did everything by the book and everything looks fine. I mean,
then something's wrong with the tax.
Okay.
That's
what would be that person looking into, saying, hey, something's not right here?
Look, I see it a lot. I see it a lot from people who bring other people's returns in, right? They're supposed to be head of household, okay? But the tax preparer puts single. That's a nice red flag right there.
Okay.
Right? Because that means your standard deduction should be this big. But the tax preparer is making it this big.
Correct.
Okay? If you have a child who's, say, disabled, right? They need to be checking it because that child still gets earned income credit.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that people don't ask. I ask all my clients, when we conversations,
right,
like we're having now.
You just brought in a good point. You ask a lot of questions to your clients.
I do.
To make sure to maximize the refunds, right? And whatever you can put in there, but legally, right? The other spectrum of this is some people will. There's a lot sitting around the corner, and they will say, tell me what you have, and then, hey, did you know if you saw a piece of paper on the floor today, you get to put in on it your tax?
I know, I get that.
You know what I mean.
Look.
So, that's the other extreme.
A lot of the shops people go to, right, it's in and out.
In and out, right, correct.
Right?
No,
but they don't ask the questions, they say they don't have time. They just get them in and get them out. Obviously my office is much different, but that's the problem with the guys in the shops, as you like the corner, right?
I mean, yeah.
Because they don't get to know the clients, right? They only care about.
I want your $200. Yeah.
Get in, get out.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the thing. So this is how people miss out.
Okay. So, আপনারা যারা দেখছেন অনুষ্ঠানটি, make sure you are being asked. আপনার accountant right question জিজ্ঞেস করেছেন, সব কয়টি প্রশ্ন আপনি উত্তর দিয়েছেন, satisfied. This is how you maximize your return. There are people, আর অনেকে আছেন যে বলবেন, ভাই আপনি এইটা বসিয়ে দিন, ওটি বসিয়ে দিন, আপনার বাসায় কি একটা you have a cat, you have a dog, you're laughing, it is true.
But that's a whole different type of shop.
Right.
Most of the people, I do like 400 or 500 amendments a year just because the tax preparers don't ask the right questions.
Correct. So, আমি যেটি বলছি, you got to be careful. আপনাদেরকে careful হতে হবে. We all want maximize return, but on the safe side.
Correct.
Not go over the legal boundary.
Right, but a lot of people leave money on the table because their questions are not answered and they're not asked
so
that question.
That's the other part. If you don't ask the right question, they will leave a lot of money in the U.S. Treasury, meaning Uncle Sam has it, you don't have it.
That's correct.
And this is yours. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now, many people who haven't filed taxes, some already filed, let's say, but they're planning to buy a real estate, a property this year, right? Let's start with the ones who haven't filed. What would you tell them? What would be your advice and why?
I mean, let's hope they filed an extension, right, to give you time to file. So so you're not getting failure to file penalty, but let's say you're trying to buy a house in general, right, and I haven't filed my taxes, either I'm on extension or I'm not.
Correct.
Right? It does give you the opportunity to, depending on the house size, right, go up and down based on payment. So you're able to actually change your tax return to what makes the best mortgage sense, right?
Right. So you get to play with that.
You get to play with that.
This is the people who haven't filed. So you're telling them to take extension.
So instead of instead of writing off the miles, we're going to use depreciation because it's an add back for mortgages, right?
Right.
It gives us that opportunity to basically move the tax bill up and down based on what we need to qualify for that loan.
Yeah. I was reading the new budget proposal. It passed the Judiciary Committee, so it's going to pass through House. It's going to go to Senate. It's going to pass there because the Republicans have the majority. It's 116 pages. I was reading because I just wanted to. I had a show 7 o'clock today, The Views, where I talked about immigrations, the impact, what's in there, what's not there, what people should know. One thing I forgot to tell them, and I found this very funny. 2025, if you have an EV, right? Next year when you're filing taxes, you have to pay $250 just for having an EV. And if you have a hybrid, it's $150. If you have a gas car, $0. Does it make sense to you?
No, but it's also because of the weight of the vehicle and that it's actually destroying the roads.
How's that?
An EV weighs a lot more than a normal car.
I was trying to make sense out of it.
That's the reason.
So EV
weighs a ton compared a lot.
You're not talking about the Cyber truck. You're talking about regular.
I'm talking about a Tesla Model Y versus a Toyota Highlander.
Model S, Model Y.
Well, I'm saying to you, an EV because of the battery.
Right. Oh, that wears
so
down.
much more, so it weighs on the roads. So it actually beats up the roads more.
Okay, now it's making sense.
The more EVs on the road, the more upon roads.
So I was reading that, and when I saw that, I was like, what? $250 if you have a full electric car.
New York State was going to come up with their own thing.
Yeah, this is now federal.
Right, but New York State was going to come up with it saying, hey, listen, how are we going to charge these guys extra, right, for the EV? And they were going to pay like an extra $100 registration or something like that.
Yeah, so when you go each year to DMV and then do the registrations and whatnot, $250 if you have full EV, $150 if you have hybrid, which I do, $150. And then if you have gas car, it's $0.
But that's the reason.
That's the reason. Okay. Let's move on to our program. I just wanted people to know যাদের ইভি আছে আগামী বছর থেকে $250 আপনাকে দিতে হবে at DMV. That's besides the registrations and whatnot.
You thought the big gas companies had something to do with it.
Yeah, the big of course.
I know, that's not the reason.
They're not going to let it go. They're not going to let it go. এবং আপনি যদি হাইব্রিড গাড়ি থাকে $150 or $150, that's going to go to DMV. More on this later on maybe. Okay. All right, so this is the people who did not file, right? And thinking of buying a home. And if you already have filed.
So look, if you already filed and trying to get a mortgage and trying to do an amendment, it's a nightmare, okay? They hate to see it. Now, if you're adding more income, like, oh, I forgot it's 1099 or something like that, that could still be done. That doesn't look bad. I'm increasing my tax, so I'm not decreasing and saying, okay, I'm taking all these expenses off.
So those people...
You can add revenue on. You cannot be taking off expenses because, oh, oops, I want to buy a house.
Right.
Okay? That's never going to fly.
Not only that, if you start putting $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 deposit and picking up from your statement.
Right, but I'm saying to you, say I filed my taxes and this is how the underwriters look, legitimately like, oh, I forgot I got 1099 from Lyft also, right?
Yeah, which
that makes sense. Okay, fine, I can add it on and they'll take that income. But you can't be saying, okay, let me take that expense out, no. It's got to be just the income can go up.
Okay.
নিউ ইয়র্ক থেকে সম্প্রচারিত TBN 24 টেলিভিশন বিশ্বজুড়ে বাঙালির কণ্ঠস্বর।